Today is Monday, June 12th of 2023, and we did several trades in our main option trading account. The first trade you see here is that we sold the CNI July 21st $110 cash secure put option, and we're paid $1.30 per share. So here we see our four charts of CNI. Let's start with the hourly chart. Notice that over the past month or so, several months, that CNI had kind of been an overall downtrend. But notice that going back to the 25th of May, so several weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, it seems as though CNI is trying to find a bottom here on this hourly 60-minute chart. We'll see it a little clearer as we get in our longer time frames. Now here on the daily chart, we see that the CNI has kind of been in a wedge. If you kind of take out this one little few down days here, we see there's a clearly defined wedge that CNI is in. So the 110 strike price we sold is just below, it's actually quite a bit below where it closed at, where it was today. So about $4 lower than where it closed at today. So we have some nice room if CNI were to keep coming down that we could still be profitable in this position. Notice in our volume that there was strong selling pressure as CNI declined several weeks ago. Notice that the volume increased, but then it dissipated. And ever since then, the volume's kind of been getting lower and lower. Now, there was a high volume day on Thursday of last week, so pretty high volume. Had some nice little legs from buyers and sellers, but overall, pretty strong down day, almost eclipsed the green up day the day before it. So it showed that sellers had some strength, but volume has kind of retreated as it declined here and now reached the lower part of this upward sloping support trend line, which the volume from the sellers has decreased. And today was actually a nice green volume bar, a little below average, but we see sellers pushed it down. Buyers came back in and bought it back up, so we ended up slightly up for the day. Over here on the weekly chart, we see kind of the same thing, a little bit longer time frame, of course, with it being weekly. But we see that this wedge goes way back. You can actually extend this wedge all the way back into here, which would put it all the way back into 2020. So this upward sloping trend line, if you take out that one little bleep, going back here to the fall of last year, this has been a nice support trend line for CNI. So we'll see if it holds. So kind of one of the negative things I see here is that it is making lower highs. Notice that this high here was about the same as that high, but then it made a lower high several weeks back, or a couple months ago. So that is kind of a negative, but it is in the lower part of this trading wedge that's been in. I will look to add this position if it continues to find support. Notice over the past month or so that sellers have shown great strength. However, as it reached this support area down here, this support trend line, volume decreased and buyers came in and bought it up to give it support. So we'll look to add to that and see how it goes. Next one's the new position. We sold the MDT July 21st $80 cash secure put option and received 85 cents per share. Let's pull that chart up here. So we see on the hourly chart that MDT, it is hitting up against the red 200 moving average on this hourly time frame. However, we see that also corresponds to the previous wave's high. So is it we'll find resistance there? Well, possibly. We do see nice volume over the past couple of days. But going out to our longer time frames, notice that MDT, it actually switched direction. Going back to, let's see, this downward trend started way back here. We have to go all the way back to around September of 21. So for a long time, MDT was in a nice, strong downtrend. But what's happened is that since then, going back to March, we see that it has made a higher low, and now it's also made a higher high. So on this daily chart, we see the trend has reversed. Notice the upper part of this resistance line here, MDT, it tested for resistance going back here to February. It found resistance there, but then it broke through and broke out of this resistance back in April. So now MDT is in an upward trend, and we'll look to add this position as well. Notice it was very high volume as it declined several weeks ago, but volume subsided. Buyers came back in, gave it stability. Sellers came in and retested this area of support right around here, around this $88 to $82, around this $80 to $82 area, served as support. Volume hasn't been that high the past couple trading days, but MDT has been going up. And so we sold it quite a bit below it, $4 below it, so that gives us some room for MDT to go down and still find support and go down about 5% before our $80 strike price is challenged. So another one we're going to look to add. Just looking over here at this weekly time frame, we see that there was strong selling pressure about a little less than a month ago on that big red volume bar, but notice it found support at this trend line. So now it looks like MDT will probably head up if nothing else changes, because it's now stuck in this trading channel, and we'll trade this trading channel accordingly. Try and add this position if the return stays sufficient in the coming days and it continues to find support. All right, MPW, position that really gone against us. We just continued to collect cash in it, and now we'll notice that MPW is actually starting to show some strength for the first time in a long time, kind of like MDT going way back here to early 2022. And MPW showed a lot of weakness. And what happened is it came down, found support right in here, around this $7 area, found support, went up a little bit, found resistance of the green 50 moving average. Now it's come back down, found support again at that $7 area, going back to the middle of May. And now what's happened is it actually broke out above this area around, let's see, it's around $9 and around $9. That served as resistance for it a couple times in the previous wave, broke above it, and now that's trying to serve as support for it. And it did all that over the past few weeks on nice volume by buyers. Notice the volume was going up as MPW is going up. Now looking over here at this weekly chart, we see the same thing, although it's not quite as convincing on this longer time frame. Of course, we see tremendous selling pressure over the past months. But notice that again, we see that nice support. Notice that we see nice volume over the past month and a half. And of course, it did make a higher high on this weekly chart as well. Not by much, but if it can finish pushing through that, then we do expect it to go up and test this green 50 moving average around 10 or 11 for resistance. So since it's looking a little more bullish, and notice here on the hourly chart, looking nice and bullish above both the 50 and 200 moving average on this hourly chart. Because of that, I wanted to go ahead and get the strike price rolled up to $10. So that gives us some room for MPW to go up. It can go up by, looks like about another 10%. So from $9 to about $10. And that's before our covered call is challenged. Now we did have to go out several months. We couldn't get it rolled for a credit if we went out to July. So we went ahead and went out to August. Pocket 20 cents. We're also lined up to receive the dividend because MPW goes ex-dividend this week. Now the final trade is in WBA Walgreens. So what we did here is we bought to close the Walgreens June 16th, $32.50 put option, and rolled it down. Had to go all the way out to October to get a credit, but we got it down by $2.50, and we're still able to walk away with a credit of 48 cents per share. Let me show you what's going on with Walgreens and why I decided to go ahead and do this. Now, looking here at our daily chart, we see Walgreens is another one of those that's been in a downtrend. Now, it did look like it was going to try and reverse that trend back in here, back at the end of 2022, but then it found resistance and it just kept going down. So we see it's in a nice downtrend. So we wanted to improve this position if all possible. So we had sold the $32.50 put options. Now we've rolled them down to 30. So really got them way down. That's a nice roll down. And we did have to go out, like I mentioned, had to go all the way out to October to make that happen. But we also got a nice credit of 48 cents. So not too upset about it. I'm happy to get it rolled down. Puts us in a better position. And looking here at a weekly chart, it actually puts us at an area that served as really strong support for it going back to October 2022. Notice that when it hit that $30 area, buyers came in and bought it up really strong. So for about a month and a half, buyers really bought it up nice and strong. So will that happen again? Well, we do see some nice green volume the past couple weeks. Not tremendous volume, but nice volume. So we'll have to see if it does continue to go up. But just in case it continues to show weakness, we're in a better spot. We rolled it down and got a nice little credit to do that. So we have quite a few positions that are expiring this week. We're going to let some of our covered calls hopefully be a sign and just switch them back into cash secure put options since we're getting nice interest on our cash. But we're also going to roll out of positions, and we'll let some just expire worthless and close them out early. And of course, be looking for new positions as the week progresses. So that's all for today. I hope you have a great evening.